Welcome to the Elite Power Moves podcast, where we unlock the secrets to level up in all areas of life. I'll be interviewing some of the world's top performers in their fields so that you can uncover and learn the strategies that have led to their overall success and apply it to your own life. Nate, can you share some healthy habits that you found most effective in maintaining your high level of productivity and performance as a CEO?
Well, where do I start? We'll start early in the morning. So for me, it's getting up early in the morning and having a simple, it's just really about the habits, the daily habits that stack like bricks on a wall. So 4 a.m., 4:15 a.m. generally is my wake up time. It never used to be, but it's one of those things that you set the alarm clock, you have everything ready the night before. And the Atomic Habits is a great book, which probably references that as well. But for me, getting it all ready, getting in that habit, and then really pushing yourself to get up early and get that extra few hours. One, so you can train, because if I don't train, this sets my day up. So getting a healthy shake. So I'll have a green shake with lots of protein and lots of greens and veggies in. Fruit, we just kind of pretty much chuck as much fruit and veggies in as you can and then drink it. It's pretty gross, but we just don't get enough vitamin minerals. It's one of the things too, funny enough, that over time, I was always worried about having fructose and fruit and the sugar and being and being fat from it, from obviously spiking insulin.
Yeah,
but it's taken me forever to realize that it actually hasn't affected me at all. It's in fact probably done to do the microbiome in your stomach. It feeds that, it helps you be more healthy. And I'm not talking about high sugar stuff. I'm talking about like fruits and veggies. But so I think doing that has put me in the leanest probably I've ever been, but not on a strict diet. I've got a good diet. I just heat up meals. I've got a fridge behind me in my office. So get up early, green shake straight away, stretch usually every morning. I've got a stretching app, and then I mix it between either martial arts or weight training. And I pretty much do the same routine. Public holidays, raining, winter, summer, it doesn't matter what it is on holidays. And if I'm on holidays, I may compress it down a little bit depending on what's on. But that's kind of that's my morning routine anyway. That's what I do to kick off every day.
Yeah. I'm pretty much the same. Like I'm a 3:45, 4 a.m. at the moment. And I always have I've got into having lemon and pink salt first thing in the morning at the moment, because lemon obviously helps you with the digestive system, but pink salt has the 84 trace minerals. I think the one thing about it too is it tastes like absolute shit, and it reminds you that everything you're going to do that day that's hard for you is good for you. But definitely like planning your night before and having everything prepared and your gym gear out. But I think the most key takeaway for busy executives and CEOs is it gives you your time. You've got a huge team, you've got a family. It gives Nathan's time to cultivate that resilience you need for the day, but also gives you your presence time. So that's awesome. Nathan, what strategies do you do to manage stress and maintain your healthy work-life balance and leading a successful company?
I've added in some, since we opened the Immerse Wellness, which is our plunge ice baths and those sort of things. I added in the ice therapy, like just jumping in the freezing cold water. I certainly couldn't have one at home, but it's something that I went to, and we were studying that over the last couple of years when I built one. So that helped me. I was going through a bit of real anxiety stress when I got kicked out of my company a few years ago, and it was just really bad times. And imagine setting up your company, and the next thing you're removed, and you've got to fight for it back, and they're using your money to fight you in court against you. And it turned out good in the end. I mean, it was the kick in the ass I needed to go and do my own thing, but it also ended up 3 years of the legal battles, and I won all of them. But it was the stress that I was under at the time, and doing that, and then building it all up for your family. It's something I've always, like most of us, probably building something just to give to our family and make that stability. And it was looked really unstable. So I've never been through a period of time with like anxiety and stress, and I couldn't breathe, and I thought I was having a heart attack. And I got the heart checks done, I got my bloods done, and the doctors are like, "You're perfectly fine." I said, "Well, I'm laying in bed and I'm thinking I'm going to die."
Yeah,
I literally was, my shoes off, and people having conversations, and I'll be like, short of breath, thinking I'd have to walk away from them, because I imagined myself laying on the floor and having a heart attack. It was really, really, and but that time for me, I eventually started doing the ice bath, and I know I just had a trigger. The trigger for me is cold water. If I pour cold water, I'm like the vagus nerve in your face.
Yep.
Pouring cold water, breathing. I did the Wim Hof breathing. Things change, and like there's not one set thing that works for everyone. Everyone's different. So exercise keeps me level. If I don't train for 3 days, it doesn't matter how successful I am. I've been before Lily in tears, and my mum's like, it's Christmas. I wasn't seeing my children, and I hadn't trained for 3 or 4 days. I just got back from a Thailand trip where I was partying, and so I had that real down period. And my mum being my mum goes, you dickhead. She goes, what's wrong? She doesn't exercise at all, but she goes, you haven't been to the gym, have you? And I'm like, now I'm not young, and I should know this, and we all know what we should do, but and then you just needed somebody to go, hang on, you dickhead. So I went to the hotel, I'm jogging, and within 30 minutes I was back to normal. And it's like, I know this though, and I know the things that work, but sometimes you just kind of put it aside, and you put it aside, and it's really hard too when you're feeling down and you've got all these challenges to get up and actually move. But motion is emotion. Like once you get moving, you get outside, you walk in the sun, you get in the surf. Like it's whatever it is, you've got to move, you've got to breathe, and you just, whether you jump in the cold water of the beach, when you jump in the ice bath, you're freezing your nuts off, and you're not thinking about things. You're just like, oh, where's that 3 minutes going to be gone? That is part of my routine. I do that probably once or twice a week. I've got it built next to one of the clubs, which is my head office. So that along with the exercising and eating, I know that when Grace, my partner, she can tell when I've got a lot of stress on, because I'll go to eating bad food. I'll just eat. I start wanting to eat junk food and sugar food, and like most people do, it's like, oh well, this will make me feel good at the moment, but it won't later. So I do have very strict days, like on a Wednesday and a Saturday. I can pretty much eat anything I want to eat, but I still have to keep my protein high. I'll still exercise. On Saturday is my favorite day because generally I'm with the kids and we have cheat meals together, and they see Dad having a cheat meal, and it's like, these chips, they're bad for you. Like they're full of fat and not good food. There's burgers and pizza. But then Sunday morning at 6 a.m., because I sleep in Sunday, I'll get up and I'll just go for a jog for 5Ks.
Yeah.
And so I've still got to put the effort in. And so if I don't do the jog though, and then I'll leave it till Monday and I make some excuse, Monday you're a bit lethargic. You're not feeling, you might be 70% instead of 100. So the rest for me, and that I just really despise running.
Yep.
But I do it because I know it's one of the tough things, like you mentioned, but also I remember watching my son do cross country, and I was pushing him, and I felt like, please just keep going. And then I'm like, one day we were jogging together, and I just said jog, and he just couldn't go any further. And I bribed him. I said, look, I'll buy your ice cream. You have to. He started bawling, and then he kept running though, and I was like, if my expectations for him to do that, then I should have that same expectation on me. That's me as a parent. That's where I hold on me, and that's something that
the one thing I love about you, Nathan, is you show that true resilience as a CEO, but you're also like vulnerable. You're also happy to tell people about your down times in life. And I think to wrap it up, like what you are, like it's like compounding in investments. You're compounding in all these hard things that you know are going to be beneficial for you for your day. But you're also present, like you're present with yourself. You know when you're not, when you haven't got that serotonin and the dopamine rush from the high, and you understand when you get to points where you're not eating the right foods. And I'm exactly the same. Like, like jumping in the ice bath is not easy, especially after a workout, but it's really good for our nervous system. And, running is definitely something that I struggle with as well. But it's pretty much sounds like you do the hard now for the easy later. Nathan, in your experience, what key qualities define high functioning humans?
I would start with resilience first. A high functioning person is resilient because you can be you can't be high functioning without being resilient. It's like being on a battlefield and then looking at the enemy and going, oh God, it's raining. Oh, we're not going to, it's like, what? oh, it's raining. Oh, we've got weapons. Oh, well, you're on the battlefield. And I think we forget sometimes, and I watch a lot of war documentaries and ancient history stuff, and I don't think we really remember where we actually came from as people. And these people, these soldiers marched with armor on across with no little water and little food, and there was no like breaks and public holidays and all this stuff. And it's like, um, one is like, if you're like everybody else and you're just doing the minimal 9 to 5 and you're complaining about your work and you're having all the weekends off and stuff too, then you'll just be the same as everyone else. And unfortunately, most people are overweight, which is 60 or 70% of the population, and they're not happy, and then they die early because of the things that they don't put the effort in to do. So I would say the number one thing would be resilience and really bouncing back. And that all comes down to just having a clear head and doing things that you need, like being aware of what you need to do to have a clear.
Yeah, it definitely, I mean, I don't know if this makes sense to you, Nath, but like we come from in our generations, like late 70s, early 80s born. Our parents, like my parents, my grandparents, or our grandparents come back from war. And, obviously, they were taught synergy and working as a team and toughing it out. I find that a lot of our generation, and we're also taught a lot of stuff when we're kids about our identity. It's like, you've got to keep on going, don't ask for help, just tough it out. And I feel like it sort of is like a domino that falls onto our parents, and then also a domino that we pass on to our kids. But it's great to see men like you who have emotional intelligence, also presence. And it sounds like you're the sort of man that is creating generational health. But I do believe people like you are put here on this universe to create change. And you obviously got a mission with your business, but with your gyms at Fitness Cartel, you're probably changing thousands of lives as well. So, that's what I love about people like you. Nate, can you share a challenging situation that you faced as a CEO? And how did it make you the man that you are now?
Well, the CEO title, just to start with, is something that I didn't really want to take, and I wasn't thinking that I'm worthy of being a CEO because and having a look around all the academics and people with lots of degrees and that are quite highly intelligent, that are much more skilled in certain things. So one day being confidence to put CEO in my title, because it's like, well, no, I'm just the owner. And being the owner doesn't mean that you're more clever. It means you get all the really crappy jobs that sometimes you just can't delegate, or like working 7 days a week and being the last person there and always the first person to start work. So I'll start with that to start with. One, I'm comfortable with my title now. And I am tracking, and I'm like, what would the number one CEO in the country do? And there's some of the things that I'm looking at and going, okay, well, and putting a list of what that person. And I had this conversation with my son yesterday of who is that future. He calls it, he's Jonathan. He's like Mr. Cartel. He's his new persona. Same with me and this billionaire Nathan. It's like, okay, billionaire Nathan. Now I don't need $1 billion. I'm perfectly happy, but I've just made a goal. I've made a goal. I'm not satisfied, but I'm extremely happy with my life. And I made a goal and okay, well, if I get that, I can help more people. I can do more things. And you create a big industry, but that's the byproduct of if the money comes later after all the other stuff. And it's okay. Well, our big goal is obviously to get 20 million visits in 2029 through our clubs. So that's almost the population of Australia through our fitness clubs by 2029. So which was achievable. We're at 5 million at the moment. So across our group. So, but back to the resilience question. Or the question that one of I've been quite a few, but I think the big one was getting removed out of the partnership. There were 3 of us in that business together. There were 2, and they're more they're big bodybuilders, and they've got a different type of. It's a sport where you're the only one, and it's you, and then there's no one else on your team, and it just all you care about is yourself in that sport. Not everyone, but if you put 2 of those similar personalities together, and you've got me. and I'm out there. I'm a bit of an extrovert. Got that from my mum growing up in the housing commission and working in the bar, me being a kid, talking to people and walking around. So I'm much of an extrovert, very salesy, and I know how to sell, but I know how to sell something that's easy because it's like a fitness industry. So anyway, put those two personalities in mind together and trying to build a company, and then we're just not seeing eye to eye. And then one day just being removed, and then like I said before, next thing you know, your car's lit on fire in your driveway suspiciously, and all these sort of things. Like it's like what you built. So that was the biggest challenge for me, is having everything got built and then that trying to be ripped out from underneath me, which was totally illegal, which I mentioned before. I won, but I was still going through the whole process and going through the legal letters every Friday afternoon. It was really a matter of just controlling what I control. And I think when I talk to people that I don't coach people anymore. When I used to coach, I haven't got a lot of time at the moment, but it's really confidence comes when you have clarity. So whenever a problem arises and something pops up and you're like, the first reaction is you freak out. It's the natural human reaction. But then you got to let that settle and just, what do you need to know? What are the other things you need to know to understand to give you clarity? Do you know all the answers? Ask all the questions, get all the answers together, then find some people that are not your family members, not your best friends that are, that's rubbish. Really intelligent people you can bounce ideas off that you know have got your best interest at heart. And then just bounce ideas off them and go through and then unpack it until you get all the evidence together. Then you start going, okay, well, it's not as bad as I thought. And what's the strategy? Because most problems have a solution anyway. And while we're breathing and while our families are breathing and we're healthy and happy, all that stuff we can replace. We can replace cars. I can build another business. So that stuff is replaceable. You can't replace your family. So the things that I really care about, they're good. The other stuff I care about, but I can build that again.
Nate, the one thing I love about you too is, like, obviously I follow a lot of people, but you're probably one of the top 10 people. I love watching your reels and your story and where you come from, because you show that true, that true leadership. You really deserve to be where you're at. I actually had a similar circumstance, for not as bad as yours, but one of the pups that I grew up through my gym, handed over all the scaled out, gave him all my PTs and all the classes. During the first lockdown, he decided to poach half of my guys. Not only that, I had my partner, who was a trainer at the time, decide to leave me as well, during that lockdown. And these are people that I've stripped 50 kilos off and changed their life. And it was, I think the other thing that happened too is I trusted a friend to invest in his investment business with 10,000, and I sort of didn't have the money then, and it really put me at the rock bottom. And I feel where you're at. Like, I actually was vulnerable enough to see a psychiatrist, and I was blaming myself. Is this something that I've done? But I'm a very similar personality to you. Grew up Mount Druitt, didn't have much money. Dad was a shift worker, started from nothing. So I'm really that's why I really like following you and connecting with you. Nate, the last question I had for you is, how important is it for you to surround yourself with like-minded people?
The reason I'm laughing is because if there's someone comes along and negative, and I mean, how much time do you have? How much time do you literally have in your day and your life? And why would you give that away? Like, if they're not adding value and helping and assisting you in your journey, like, we're too kind, but you're also not kind to yourself. So to be upfront, mate, anyone that's negative or complaining, whether it's family members, whether it's whatever it is, even if it was my children and they were carrying on, obviously I'd try and coach them, but it's like, nah, that's not our attitude. That's not how we talk. Come back to me with the solution. Don't bother. I mean, what's the point of client crime? There was a saying I heard in one of the meetings, actually, bringing a dead cat to a meeting. Not that I've got anything to do with dead cats, but it's like, what's the point? Like, why are you bringing that to the meeting? Like, what's the whole point of doing this? I mean, if they're not fueling your fire and they're pissing on your flame, like Will Smith says, then what are you doing talking to them? So I go out of my way to source out people that are like-minded, people that are much more successful than I am. That's why I found a billionaire coach who sold his business for $5.7 billion. And I asked him, if he would coach me. So he coaches me, he challenges me, and he challenges a company and challenges everything. And it's not comfortable, but people don't like being challenged. People really don't. And you'd see that in your business. Like, everybody wants to be fit and healthy and successful. They just don't want to do the work. And when you challenge them, and like my son wanting to be a world champion kickboxer and martial arts, I'm like, well, what does the world champion kickboxer do? Are they having a sleep in tomorrow? Are their parents saying, oh, you're overtraining? I'm like, bullshit, mate. You're not overtraining. You're young, you're fit, you're healthy. You're not overtraining. When you're overtraining, you'll start getting a cold and stuff too, and you'll not be feeling well. Keep your vitamins and minerals and what you put into a supercar and build it so you can get to that persona. And it's the same with anything in life. Like, you can't be the person you are and expect to get to where you want to, like, move to level it up. You've got to level it up. You've got to put in and only that 1% rule, like Atomic Habit talks about. Just get 1% better every day and 37% better in a year.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the energy. Like, I'm a big energy fan. Like, one of the things I was talking about before is how, some people, they grow up with those, dads, their grandparents who come back from war, mask their pain with alcohol. They don't know how to show emotional intelligence. They don't know how to ask for help, and they sort of just tough it out. That sort of domino falls onto some, men and women that I find that haven't like passed the 7-year-old stage. That, for example, I ask someone to wipe down the gym equipment, you know what I mean? And it's an attack, So I just love being around people that are always future thinking about the future and where they're going to go, and setting goals and inspiring others. I guess one other question I did have for you, Nath, is as a CEO, you're quite a busy man, but you also find time to share a lot of content on your Instagram and help people. How do you find the time to do that?
We schedule in a heap of videos in one go, and we just do an hour of shooting, and we go through, and there might be 15 topics, and we chop them all up. So it really is the only way to fit in. Like I said, you've only got so many hours of the day to fit it in. That just means that day I may start a little bit earlier, or we'll squeeze it into the day. So, I mean, all my goal is to squeeze as much as I possibly can. And like Rocky says to, is it Apollo Creed saying to Rocky, there is no tomorrow, Rocky. It's like, just get it all done today. Like, why put it off till tomorrow? And if you've got a goal, shorten the goal deadline and really push to get it. And like, when you get it, then what's the next goal? But it's really just simple goal setting and the habits to get there, and just really being disciplined. Because goal setting, like anything in training, is very linear, and you don't see any results, and it's not working, and then all of a sudden, boom, you start to get this reaction, but it just takes time.
Yeah. I think just to end it, I think the most powerful tool for a busy executive, our busy CEO or business owner, is time. Like, we have 1,440 minutes each day. And I feel like it's, when you start your day, as you mentioned, with presence, you move your body, setting off those endorphins, serotonin, releasing dopamine just before you're about to learn and remember. And obviously tackling your moving the needle task and putting urgency on those bigger things that are getting you closer to your goal. Nath, I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on. Yeah, it's good to talk to you, mate. I really appreciate you, and I hope all is well with your goals, and I'm looking forward to following you and seeing you achieve them as well.
No worries, man. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it too.
No, thanks, Nath. Thank you for tuning in today, and I hope you found the discussion useful. Our goal is to positively impact the well-being of 1 million people's lives just like you by sharing the experience and knowledge of some of the world's top performers. So you don't miss out on any key strategies to help you succeed, make sure you hit the subscribe button below. And if you think you may know someone that would benefit from this episode, join us in our mission of impacting 1 million lives and share it with your friends.